contemplating specifically how to hate on Labubus without acknowledging the hypocrisy of the fact that I was so into Pokemon, in panic trying to find the difference between the two. But I'll get there. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gita Marie and I do impact analysis videos on materials, phenomena, products and brands. We talk about the general environmental impact of certain tendencies that we see in real life or on the internet. I didn't expect to be making a video on this because honestly, a month or two ago I saw them and I thought, okay, cute, funny, silly, not for me, and I moved on. And then it exploded in a way where it now has a certain cultural impact that I feel like it's a beneficial conversation that we can have with each other. I became a full-blown hater and I want to add some nuance to that debate because I definitely see people absolutely over-consuming these products and I also see people hating on them in a very specific way, and I thought this is interesting. So let's talk about them. Why are Labubus so popular? Great question. And it all comes down to finding a way of hacking consumer culture. Labubus have actually been around for a long time. I believe they were first introduced in 2015, so they've been around for a while. Why the sudden popularity now? Well, I think it's a combination of culturally people just being ready for something silly. Then I think the fact that certain celebrities started wearing them really kickstarted this interest. And then, you know, we were ripe for another trend because we loved the Stanley Cup for a whole 7 minutes. The timing has just been right. People have been looking for something that's a little bit silly to escape the reality that many people are currently facing. I believe that the packaging of the Labubu is one of the primary reasons why this has become so popular. If all Labubus came in clear packaging and you can pick out the one you wanted from a big bin, I sincerely doubt we would see this level of popularity. Because what Pop Mart is actually selling when they're selling you a Labubu is that they're selling you a dopamine rush from opening a blind box. Ever since this format of consumption was introduced to us, it's been a popular way of consuming products. Not necessities, but funny, silly things, cosmetics, toys, accessories. And what it is that you're actually buying is the tiny bit of excitement of which one you get. I haven't ever bought a Labubu, but I have absolutely bought the tiny plastic Pokeballs to see which figurine I would get. I do believe that there is some comparison in these experiences. The experience of opening a mystery box sort of resembles gambling a little bit. Stay with me. Which one will I get? Will I get the rare? Will I complete my collection? So because Labubus are launched in collections and the entire collection, with the exception of the rare, is displayed on the packaging, it sort of triggers this completionist behavior in us. And Pop Mart absolutely knows it. It tends to be this completionist behavior that makes us spend more money than we anticipated. And for this video, I have watched hundreds of unboxings with Labubus, from people that both buy entire store displays to get the entire set, to people saying that they're only buying one because they really want a pink one, then not getting a pink one, and then ends up buying another one. If you look at it from a business model point of view, this is actually brilliant. Obviously, it's not just the experience of opening up the box, but it does play a really big role when it comes to how we are urged to buy more. But the fact that the design of the figurines is also appealing and photogenic and stylized also plays a role here. But I would go out on a limb here and say that they wouldn't sell the same way if the unboxing in the mystery wasn't a primary feature. Now, the Labubus have become a cultural phenomenon, and with that, they have made some rich people richer. According to Forbes, in mid-June 2025, Wang Ning, founder, chairman, and CEO of Pop Mart, became the 10th richest person in China. And the explosive demand of Pop Mart's Labubus is a driving force here. Pop Mart's stock has also nearly tripled this summer. Meanwhile, factory and working conditions for the people making these toys is unclear. But if you consider the volume of products being produced and the explosive demand, it is highly unlikely that they're produced ethically. Are we surprised? Really? There is nothing about the production or working conditions of the people making the Labubus on the Pop Mart website. It only features some information about the designers that made the figurines, but that's also it. Which makes ethical production highly unlikely, because typically if you go the extra mile and spend the extra resources on making sure that production is safe or ethical, or people are getting fair wages, you tend to want to tell people. And now, are Labubus the most important thing when it comes to world economics or environmental impact? Well, absolutely not. But a sentiment that I see over and over again is that why should we care, or why should we hate on a tiny little toy when billionaires are flying across the world and spending the vast amount of resources and having the most insane impacts, while ordinary people do not have the same impact as billionaires? What about the private jets? What about Bezos? Well, so our consumption makes billionaires richer, as is also the case for the Mart CEO. This is not to say that private jets aren't more so impactful than you buying a cute, funny, silly little toy. It's just to say we can care about multiple things at the same time. If you want to be more selective as to where you tend to put your attention, that's completely fair too. Then you can just not overconsume and you're good to go. But I do so thoroughly believe that what we consumers tend to do on a regular basis matters, and where we put our attention, also matters. Now, I also want to talk about the collection aspect of Labubus, because this is one of the criticisms I see when people tend to be more so negatively charged towards the Labubu, is that why are we so harsh on Labubus now? Because we have always collected stuff. And yes, collections have existed for a really long time. Previously, we have seen people spend years and years trying to complete a collection. This is not new. In my own lifetime, I have been exposed to different kinds of trends that has sparked collections. I collected Pokemon when I was younger. I still love the Pokemon universe now. We have seen all kinds of different trading cards, playing cards. We have seen Funko Pops and Furbies, and collecting things has been a part of the consumer experience for a long time. If we look longer into history, collections have been, more so art related or autonomy related, different kinds of historical artifacts and pieces of artwork or craftsmanship have been collected. So yeah, collections have existed for a really long time. That's a whole idea for another video. So why be so hard on Labubus now? I think for the past 10 years or so, we have seen sped up versions of collections because things are being launched in a way that specifically triggers this completionist behavior. This is not to say that it was completely okay to collect things in the 90s and it's not okay to do now. If I made videos on YouTube in the 90s, provided that that was an option, I would have criticized the trends back then in the same fashion that I am now criticizing Labubus, obviously. A key factor here is the fact that the internet has accelerated the process of completing a collection, and the fact that we are moving through trend cycles a lot faster than we did in the past. How many trends that were collection-based have you seen just this year? People are buying store displays to fulfill their collection as soon or as fast as possible. We're seeing whole pantries, whole shelf systems, or whole rooms dedicated to fulfilling a collection that just started going viral 3 weeks ago. And this is not only Labubus, this is basically any trend that we are exposed to online. We saw the same with Stanley Cups. And the thing is, because we're moving through these trend cycles so fast, we also end up discarding these products rather soonish as well. Why is it a bigger problem than it was 30 years ago? Well, because we are moving through things a lot quicker and the volume of things produced is also accelerated. For the past many decades, there has been these viral, popular, silly little figures that we tend to use as escapism, or we tend to focus on and use to express ourselves. Like, this is not new. And I want to give people that are exploring their own style and silliness a little bit of grace here. I've spoken a lot with my friends and people in my network about Labubus, and we're all just very, that is honestly so awful. Like, why would people do that? Meanwhile, we have perhaps not that kind of relationship with the Labubus where we think that they're cute and funny, but we do definitely have similar feelings about other kinds of figurines and toys. I have a Bulbasaur tattoo on my knee, so you know. The thing is, you can love a silly figure without over-consuming it. You don't have to buy all the merch, or you don't have to complete a collection. You don't have to buy tons of stuff to find a certain type of aesthetic cute or appealing, or a certain type of visual universe interesting. You can like the style or aesthetic of something without over-consuming it, which is why my whole apartment is not filled up with Pokemon figures, but I just have a Bulbasaur tattoo on my knee. And I am aware that it's really easy to hate Labubus because they're really popular now, and if you don't see the appeal, if you don't get it, you don't get it. And I don't get it. But I understand the hypocrisy of being really against people being inspired or fascinated by toys over here, meanwhile defending toys over here. Like, I am on the side of buying consciously and with intention and not buying tons of crap that we don't need, no matter how visually appealing the products might be. Because we're moving through trends so quickly, I wouldn't be surprised if we can find Labubus in charity shops in 6 months. Or even worse, in landfill. Because that is kind of where they're headed. They are unrecyclable plastic-based toys. So when they have sort of served their duty on your Instagram feed, where do they go? I think it's completely valid to be inspired by an aesthetic. And I even feel that it's completely valid to use accessories like this to express yourself, or to say, I don't take myself super seriously. I want to add silly, funny, childish elements to my wardrobe. That is completely fair. Honestly, that I see the appeal of it. But when we overconsume, when we buy tons of these things because they are vastly popular, we have to ask ourselves, will I be using this a year from now? Will I be using it in 6 months? Or am I participating in something that has a lot of cultural momentum right now, where it might not be super appealing if other people aren't participating also? Now, this is not a video that necessarily has to stop you from buying a Labubu. This is, if anything, a video that seeks to give you a little bit of insight into why you might find the Labubu appealing. And with that information, you can consume in whatever way you want. I'm not the boss of you. I'm not going to come to your house and hit you over the head with my tripod. That is not my plan. What I want to criticize specifically is not the Labubu per se. It's not even Pop Mart, even though there are plenty of things we can say there. It is the rise, it is the gaining momentum of the mystery box product, because that is what we are buying. We are buying the excitement of not knowing. And this is something we're not only seeing with Labubus, it has been popular in the past, and it will probably continue to be popular in the future based on how viral this specific figurine has become. And I've been anti-hauling mystery boxes for a really long time, because the idea of spending money on something where you don't really know what it is means that you're spending money on the experience of opening it, not on the potential functionality of the product. And when we're talking about conscious consuming, that is basically the opposite. I think it's important to be critical and to scrutinize this specific type of business model, because it is ingrained within it that we need to overconsume to keep it alive. When something goes super viral, and honestly, when women tend to like something on the internet, there will be a wave of hate coming towards that thing. And it's no matter what the fuck it is. And some criticism is valid and other criticisms not so much. And obviously this is not to shit on things that women like just because women like it. It is, however, to say that maybe not all the criticism is completely warranted. The reason why we hate is really important here. And one of the deflections that I've seen is that all haters of the Labubu is because that they hate their inner child.
We know you hate your inner child. It's okay.
Okay, so what I wanted to get at here is that I want to talk about this inner child comment, because I've seen this over and over, not just for Labubus, but we're talking a lot about healing our inner child currently. And I don't know where you guys are hurting.
Time to see if we can heal some of my inner child. Some blind box unboxing.
If the only tool for self-expression or for healing your inner child is consumption, if the only way you can make yourself or the past version of yourself feel good is through buying something, you have a lot of heavy emotional work in front of you. There are other ways. And honestly, and this is a hot take and you might disagree or might think this is too harsh, but if the first argument you have against criticisms regarding overconsumption is instantly, well, I'm healing my inner child, you're using therapy as a consumption alibi, and that is incredibly immature. It's very much a way of trying to deflect any criticism, valid or invalid, by simply pressing the mental health button. Using consumption and buying things might make you feel good for a small period of time, but it's a very temporary emotional fix. Like putting scotch tape on a broken pipe. There's a lot of other ways that we can express ourselves or make ourselves feel better or heal ourselves. Consumption is a very short-sighted way of doing that. Sorry. And buying a Labubu is also not the end of the world, but as we can see from the evidence on social media, it's very rarely about buying one thing, because the business model that got us interested in buying one, we'll also try to nudge us into buying 2 or buying 3 or buying 4 or getting the whole set or just getting the color I want. And when I get the color that I want, I'm not gonna buy anymore. I hope you don't think this was a completely unnuanced Labubu hate video. There is some hate there, but it's mostly for the business model that thrives on overconsumption. And I think it's a good idea to be skeptical or vigilant when it comes to how much we're taking these products in and how much we're idolizing it. It's always a good idea to ask yourself, if I really need this, is this something I will wear in a year? Or is this something that's actually going to be useful for a long time? Or where will it end up when it's no longer useful? Anyway, those are some of the questions that you can ask yourself. I hope you liked this video. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you have considered buying a Labubu, if you have one, why you have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with what I said in this video, and if you want more climate deep downs analysis and essays like this, subscribe to my channel. That would make my day. And thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and I will see you guys next time. Take really good care of yourselves. Until then, bye.